Welcome to my new YouTube page. It's going to be very interesting, if you know what I mean, Harry.
There we go. So, what we want to do today, Frank, is go back through early times, when everything started.
Yeah.
Go through your career, talk about some of your famous fights and opponents.
Yeah.
So I suppose things go back to your mum and dad and your family.
Yeah.
And everything starting at an early career. So
Right.
what sort of age, because I know a little bit, I don't know a lot, what sort of age did the boxing career start?
About 8 years old. You weren't allowed to go in the ring or whatever, but 8 years old you're allowed to go to the boxing gym and learn the trade and just watch others and punch the bag and been taken on the pads.
So who encouraged you into the boxing? Who was the
My
main
dad was the
influence?
first one who got me a pair of boxing gloves because he was a fanatical Muhammad Ali fan, and he liked Joe Frazier and he liked boxing.
Right.
Most of his kids were girls. I had 2 sisters, 1 half sister, 1 full sister on my dad's side, but he always wanted a boy, and I was his favourite.
Right, and so you got into the ring at an early age.
Yeah.
And the driving force around your career, your mum was involved in that, or was it something that she didn't enjoy at all?
She wasn't involved in it at all, but she understood where I was coming from because when I was young, she couldn't understand that my brain weren't ticking like my other sisters. They'd done very, very well, or my brother, and I told her I'm dyslexic. You know what I mean? So I struggle a little bit here and there, but she was a very powerful girl, powerful lady. She was a pastor in the church, and she felt very disappointed. Was bad being brought up, but she weren't. She
didn't encourage you.
No, she didn't encourage me at all. No, so I didn't go to the church.
No, right. And so the early time we were in the gym, who was the first influence to get into the actual?
I think my brother Michael was a good influence because he liked boxing, and the guy Bill who used to run the Elsfield Boxing Club, he was a big John Levington and his son Gary Levington and the old Southpaw brother.
Right.
That used to beat me up at first when I first went down to the Elsfield Boxing Club. But yeah.
And what sort of age was that?
About 10, I can remember, to about 12. But unfortunately, I had 3 junior fights and won 2 and lost 1. And I just got shifted up to, what's the name, Tunbridge Wells, a Borstal.
Right.
Yeah, and that was a change in my life because I was trying to behave myself. But when you're mixing with the wrong crowd, and when I brought them to my house, my mum would run my friends away and said, I'm not hanging around with a different sort of like crowd, and I'll get myself in some serious trouble.
So was it teenage years were you involved in trouble in that type of, or just
Not
keep,
really.
you kept out of it?
I kept out of it, but they shipped me away to a Borstal in Sussex, not in Sussex, or Kent, or whatever, Oakhall boarding school, and I thought I was tough. But when I went on the bus and saw these kids that were above me, and they were really, really tough. Hustlers on the street, everything. They'd done a deal, brought cigarettes back, tobacco back to sell in the school. There was advance.
Yeah.
But the bullies tried to get me involved by going down the shop and nicking things. But how can I go down the shop and not being recognised? I must be the only black guy in the place to go in the shop and nick. So they must have me on camera. I said, I'm not doing that. I'm risking my life for that. You guys get some other idiot.
And then, so when did the boxing go from being a...
When I went to school, I've done boxing. I was about 12, but I really got into it. But unfortunately, I didn't listen to my mum, and the letter came through for me to go to a Borstal, and I was crying like a little baby. Yeah. But a couple of years, I knew this was the best thing that could happen to me to keep me away from the so-called people breaking. At the time, there used to be pickpocketers called sticks people. Oh, right. And they used to go have a paper and go on the bus and nick someone's purse. I said, what if someone nicked your mum's purse? What would you do? I just say, right. You know what I mean? I didn't nick the purse, but I watched my friends try to do whatever they want to do. And I said, I can't bring that to my door because my mum will lynch me for getting involved with all that. But I've been there watching them, but feel like you could do. But I said, nah, that's not right. Not right breaking into someone's house and not right nicking someone's purse. Yeah. If you went down to Selvages or Harrods and you nicked something from there, then they've got everything, it's all stock they can use. But these are genuine people that you're going to pass and bring some bad amongst the family and the people around there. So you need to leave mums alone and leave houses alone.
So your mum was the moral influence in everything?
She was a scary old girl, you know. My dad died when I was 14 and she took over and she said, you know what I mean, it was hard bringing up in the house, but she learned how to work it and done a good job.
So from a school point of view, the boxing just took over, did it?
Yeah, well, training, I had a good teacher, but once, Mr. Irwin, who very, very helped me out, set a program for me, and it was a school for people like me, but I suffered from dyslexic, but I couldn't hang around with the guys so much because they had evil in their head all the time. They wanted to do damage, or if something had cigarettes or whatever at night time, they'd go and confiscate them. But that is boys for you in a boys' school.
Yeah. And therefore you had to stick up for yourself, no doubt.
You really have to stick up for yourself, because if you go to the toilet, someone will come in and wants to headbutt you or nick your cigarettes or whatever. You have to be on your toes.
It was a rough bringing.
Rough. And all the boys at that school, any football match we used to beat them, any school, rugby, we used to beat them, cricket we used to beat them, because we had some good professionals. They didn't know they were professionals, but very fit guys and very on point guys in whatever they'd done.
Yeah. So when you came out of there, where did you go into the boxing development?
I tried a few jobs here and there. I got a job in Lonsdale Sports Shop in Brixton.
Right.
For a little bit. I tried a bit of metal polishing. I worked on the building site. But, you know what I mean, Terry Lawless came along and sort of like offered me a deal that he would look after me. I don't have to go to work. All I've got to do is just train for boxing. And the best thing that could happen to me.
So he was the main influence then at that point?
It influenced. I was a learner and a listener. And sometimes if someone licks out a lyric or says something about life and whatever, you sort of like put that to your armoury and go and multiply. People I met today were so inspirational for me, but I like listen to all of them and keep on their level, you know?
Yeah. So who were the people at that time who were your main opponents?
What, outside or inside the ring?
Inside the ring.
I was amateur. I had Leverton, Gary Leverton. I had 2 free fights. 2 of them I won, 1 I lost. But unfortunately, I went to the ball stool at 12, so I was away for a little bit and back and forth. So I really couldn't concentrate on my boxing, and I could concentrate on getting fitter and doing some boxing moves. And sometimes we have a dispute at school. We had to go in the hallway, put on a pair of gloves and have it out there. A lot of them didn't like that because I knew what I was doing in boxing. When street fighting, the headbutt and bite and all that.
Fair fighting as opposed.
Fair fighting, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So what age did Terry Lawless come along? What sort of?
What age? I think I got to do it about 18. Right. I had 21 fights, but I got to the ABAs 1980.
Yeah.
And I fought a guy called Rudy Pica. It could have either gone any way, but it went my way, thank God. And I never looked back from there when Terry Lawless got involved with me.
Yeah.
Or I got involved with Terry Lawless.
Well, both of you got involved and were a successful partnership, weren't you? So,
right.
So that was a great time. And then there were a lot of fights where they were a bit one-sided and they were a bit,
I've taken it on the chin. Sometimes everybody's got to go through that sort of.
But it was a learning experience, wasn't
it? Very learning experience. But when judgment came, I had to fight people like Tim Witherspoon, Bone Crusher Smith, Tyson. I had to be ready and fire, ready to defend myself if I can. And I don't think I've done a bad job.
No. So Witherspoon was obviously a big disappointment at the time, wasn't it? It was
me losing, but if you look at it realistically, I was a late developer and I didn't have that much experience. I knocked out people when they never had the chance to learn the trade. No. But I went 11 rounds with him, give him a run for his money, but I ran out of gas. Yeah,
I mean, I was watching some of the things yesterday, and a lot of your fights were over relatively quickly because you were just so powerful.
You don't get paid for overtime.
No.
You know, you like, this is your business. You know how to work it. Boxing, if you're playing rugby, that's a very tough game, but you got to do the time.
Yeah.
In football, you got to do the time. Boxing, you try and get them out as quick as possible.
Yeah, unbelievable fights at the time. So after Witherspoon, you went into the 2 fights against Mike Tyson.
Yeah, they were good fights. People can't understand. Like when I went to America for about 3 months, we met up with Mike Tyson and spent about 2 weeks together at Gleason's Health Resort, a Jewish resort where they catered for boxing. Met up high altitude and got very, very super fit. But he was a boy at that time, 15 years old. I was borderline 19. And we met up and how he matured and got bigger and #1 heavyweight was unbelievable. And I didn't have these muscles.
No.
He's had some big neck muscles and big arm muscles and leg. But, you know what I mean? I didn't I don't know where that's come from, but good luck to him.
So in a fight like that, to me, fear would come into it.
Fear?
You know, against Tyson. He was, at that time, he was an animal. He was a scary man.
Right, yeah.
Was there anything like that, or is it just pure, I've got to take him on?
When you meet someone at 15 and you've done a lot of sparring and meet him together, I look at him differently than someone else. Him biting someone's ears off or knocking someone's out, and really tough guy. I've met him earlier. I knew a lot of James Quick Tillich, Jeff Sims, who used to be a gangster with the bullet on his head, and he used to walk around like he owned the place, you know. We used to shut our door at Gleason's, but usually if his door opened to let the bears come in, he'll fight the bears. His mentality, he's been in prison, he's a gangster, and he fears nothing. But James Smith, his name was, dangerous guy, but I think he's dead now at the moment. God rest his soul. Yeah. But he's a bad boy.
Yeah. So the first fight with Tyson, you basically got him wobbling, hadn't you?
Yeah. I live for a little bit like Elvis.
Yeah. I mean, he was an awesome fight to come.
He still is an awesome fighter, but unfortunately he's a broke fighter at the moment because all his money's gone.
Yeah. He was an unbelievable fighter.
Very, very. They've got very far to beat another fighter or develop another fighter like that. He's very unique.
The second fight wasn't quite the same, was it?
Not quite. I think I'm getting too old for this. Now I had a little detached retina in my eye, so things always come to an end. But I had a good innings, so I have no grumble.
No.
Grumbling about anything.
Okay.
What's the difference between fighting in England and America? Because obviously they perceive it to be a lot more hype to be in America.
If you can have it at home, you can have everything run to your tailor-made thing. Sometimes if you go abroad, they like their own man to win. Either you go to a restaurant, you eat a meal, and you can't stop going to the toilet when you go back home. Yes, seriously, I'm not joking, I'm being serious. I'm knocking on your door with a bird. I didn't participate in the girl, but different, just to try and get you out of your step. You walk through the lobby and you say, "You English boy, you bum," and all that. So we had about 4 in that camp. We give him some of that, you know what I mean? Yeah, but that's boxing in itself, you know. Yeah. Some countries you go to, you've got to be careful when you're sleeping at night time. They come in your room and trouble you behind the baseball bat. Yeah, so I was pretty safe.
So of your fights, which is the most memorable for you?
I think the Oliver McCall fight, because I had so many fights trying to get to the top of the hill and kicked down and beaten by the guys when nearly got there, but I never give up, right? I had a good innings in boxing, and when I mean good innings, I took on some serious guys. Some of them, I admit, I punched them and they went over too quick, but some of them who didn't go over too quick give me a run for the money.
And obviously, Harry Carpenter played a lot of, had a big, well, not an influence, there was obviously a big connection between...
He was Don Corleone, he was very connected to a lot of different things because he could do any sort of like sport. He was a sports journalist. Yeah. But how, and you close your eyes, you could just know that's Harry doing what he's doing. Yeah. But unfortunately, we all got to go sometime in our life. But the time that I had with him was one of the best. The Royal Variety Show, HB adverts, toilet, it was all different things.
The connection was fantastic.
Yeah,
it was an unbelievable connection at the time.
Someone said to me the other day, you've met so many different people, you've been on so many different people's show that you're double the famous that other people are doing. But I just said, I'm a ducking and diving. That's all it is. It's simple. As long as you give people respect, do what you're going to do and just go home and you have a peaceful and respectful life.
So do you get tired with being the Frank Bruno personality?
I don't get tired. I don't want to come beat me up, or if I got my car out there, scratch it or nothing like that. Because some people like you, but there are people who don't like you.
I think you're probably one of the most loved sportsmen in the country, aren't you?
Boss, I can't really, you know what I mean? That's very nice of you, but you know what I mean? That's very nice.
That's through a career that long. Yeah. So ladies, there's an invite. There we go.
You know what I mean? It's fine, it's a nice woman.
It's not Tinder.
Yeah, Tinder.
It's a Frank Bruno Tinder site.
Okay, yeah.